What happens when you stop caring? In this video, I'm going to tell you how caring too much can ruin everything in a relationship. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. It seems counterintuitive, but caring too much can really cause problems in a relationship. I get endless messages and DMs from women who are heartbroken, who are frustrated, who are confused. They don't understand where they went wrong. The answer? They care too much. Now, don't get me wrong, caring is great and all, but only when it's reciprocated. The problem is when you are doing all the caring and all the investing. This is how you end up in a lopsided relationship, and this is how you set the stage to get completely blindsided by a breakup, because you were pouring everything into the relationship. You thought things were great, but he just was not on the same page. Now, what do I mean by care? I don't mean that you don't love him. I don't mean that you're not nice to him. I really mean you don't stress over the relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of people confuse stressing and caring to be one and the same. When you stress over a relationship, it feeds into a downward spiral. And I'm going to explain the downward spiral so you know what it is and you learn how to prevent it. So make sure you watch this video until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please give it a like. This is a super quick, super easy way to help me out, help me grow my channel. And also be sure to subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new content. Follow me on Instagram at A New Mode for more relationship advice. And also be sure to subscribe to the A New Mode newsletter, anewmode.com/subscribe. Now, if you're watching this, I'm assuming it's because you want to know how to be a woman that easily attracts a man. Maybe this has just been something that you've struggled with and you just want to know what it is you're doing wrong and how to get it right. Now, not caring, which is the topic of this video, is one way to get there, and we're going to cover that. But if you want to know more about how to get a guy to be thoroughly and completely obsessed with you, how to get him to not only want you, but want to commit himself to you, then you should definitely check out our Make Him Want You Bad system. I created it with my partner on A New Mode, Eric Charles, and we break down everything you need to know about what gets a man truly hooked and truly inspires him to commit. You can download it right now or when you're done with this video at makehimcraveyou.com, and I will link it down below. Okay, so caring too much can take several forms. It could be that you're way too invested in the relationship, even before it is a relationship, just when all you have is the potential of what could be. You might be mentally jumping way too many steps ahead, and Eric and I call this investing in a fantasy future, where you see the potential and that's kind of what you attach yourself to. You're not being present to what is. You are just hoping it becomes something else that you want it to be. But what's important to realize here is you can't get a guy to care about you by caring about him. That's just not how intrigue and attraction work. You get a guy to care about you and be interested in you by being your own individual person with her own life, her own fulfillment, her own feelings of happiness that you bring into the relationship, that you bring in when you are forming a connection with him. You don't get it by bending over backward, trying to please him, trying to be what it is you think that he wants. Also, when you are dating the potential of what could be, you're just not present. You're not interacting with the person in front of you. So how could you ever really form a connection in a relationship with this person? Another form of excessive caring is something that I call excessive compassion disorder, or ECD. Now, this only really affects women. And just FYI, this isn't a real disease. Someone actually thought that it was once and they were like, wow, I never even heard of that. No, I made it up. It's not like in the DSM or anything like that, but it's a real problem. It's a pervasive problem. So ECD is when you let your compassion override your sense of reason and your sense of self-respect. And you usually end up compromising yourself and lowering your own value and your own standards for the sake of a guy. Usually ECD is triggered by a damage case. A damage case is my word for a guy who has a lot of potential. He's a great guy at his core, but he is coated in a lot of issues. It could be mental health issues, it could be family troubles, it could be financial troubles, it could be stress, it could be any host of things. He is just not dateable at this present moment in time. But you see how great he could be. You see the potential, and you make it your mission to lift off that rubble piece by piece to unearth the amazing man that's underneath. You also just feel bad for him. He's having a hard time. You feel bad. You want to help him. Usually this guy has been through a lot. I mean, that's valid. He's not just, blowing you off. It's not that he's just not that into you. It's that right now he's just incapable of being with you. And you feel so bad for him. You just want to help him. And also, you don't want to leave him because then that's going to make him even more sad. He's already struggling so much and you don't want to cause him any more pain. So you stay. You stay at the expense of yourself. You make excuses for him. You excuse all his bad behavior because of the stuff that he's going through. So you stay and you try to help him, and you are so loving and you are so amazing, and you put all this energy and effort into the relationship and into fixing him. And then what happens? Usually one or two things. Either he leaves, or he gets his act together and then he leaves. Very rarely is your act of kindness and self-sacrifice rewarded with a commitment from this man. You've seen him at his worst. He doesn't want a woman who's seen him at his worst. He wants to start anew with somebody shiny and new who doesn't know about his troubled past. Leave a comment if this has ever happened to you, because unfortunately it happens a lot, and it has happened to me. I actually have a whole other video on damage cases. The title is Why You Keep Going for Guys That Are Bad for You. You should definitely watch that as well if this is something that you relate to. Third is the most common type of care. It is the stressing over the relationship care. You call it caring about the relationship. I call it stressing over the relationship. And this is what it usually looks like. Phase 1, you meet a guy, you get really excited about him and all the amazing possibilities. Phase 2, you want this future. You think that you'll finally feel happy and fulfilled. You'll finally feel complete. You'll finally feel like you're enough. Phase 3, you start to worry about things not working out. You try to stay positive, but the worry just grows and grows. You've attached to the vision of what could be. You've attached to the potential. And most dangerous of all, you've attached to what it means about you. Meaning you've attached your sense of self-worth to how he feels about you, to how he responds to you. If he's loving, that means you're lovable. If he tells you you're beautiful, then you're beautiful. If he pulls away and he withdraws, you're unworthy, you're unlovable. Now you need to fix it. You start to really pick apart the signs. You start to notice how long he takes to text you back. You start to notice if maybe sometimes he doesn't seem that excited by your presence. You notice if he seems a little bit distant sometimes. And because you're kind of already looking for negative signs, and usually this happens because deep down you don't really feel like you're deserving of the kind of relationship that you really want, and this is usually the result of, say it with me, childhood trauma. This is already the filter system that you have. So you're kind of already looking for the negative. When you look for the negative, all you're gonna see are the negative. All you're gonna see are, oh, now he's taking an hour to text me back. He used to text me back right away. And you're gonna start to get worried, and you're gonna start to get paranoid. And that brings us to phase 4, acceleration. Now your worry has grown to the point that you cannot be happy in this relationship. You are always on edge, you are always panicked, and you are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You can't be that happy, carefree woman that you were in the beginning, the one that attracted him in the first place. Now you're anxious and insecure. You're always looking for reassurance from him that everything is okay. Your mood isn't fun and enjoyable. It's low and fearful. You might not even be expressing these fears outright, but they will manifest. They'll come across in your body language. They'll come across in the way you interact with him. There will just be something that hangs in the air. You just feel this knot in your stomach. And if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm describing. Anytime he shows you a sign that things are okay, that things are back on track, you feel this sense of relief. But it's really short-lived, because then you need another sign and another sign. You can never just be. You're always waiting for that validation from him. You're chasing the high of wanting to feel okay again. You feel like as soon as he texts me back, as soon as he calls me his girlfriend, as soon as he says I love you, as soon as he says I love you again, as soon as we hit this milestone, then everything will be okay. But it's never okay. There's always another milestone that you need to hit, and you can never feel at ease in the relationship. Phase 5. Crashing. You feel completely out of control now. He did or said something that sent a chill down your spine, a sign that he seems to be losing interest, which to you is a fate worse than death. You're panicking. What do I do? What did I do? What did I do wrong? What did I do to cause this? Your behavior and thoughts at this point are now entirely consumed with how to get him interested again, how to get him to like you again, how to fix this, how to undo the damage. Needless to say, the mood in the relationship is no longer fun and enjoyable. It basically becomes this self-feeding toxic cycle until the relationship eventually implodes. The seed of this downward spiral wasn't even the worry or the panic or you trying to control your behaviors. Where it started to all go wrong is when you invested in that fantasy future. When you built up a vision in your mind of what it could be. When you basically became afraid of losing something that you didn't even have yet. Now, look, it's fine to have an overall vision. For example, if you want kids, you want a guy who also wants kids, who also is going to be a great father. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Those are all very practical considerations. What I'm talking about is getting swept up in a fantasy. What I'm talking about is attaching your sense of worth to how a guy responds to you. It's basically building up a guy to be some kind of savior or some kind of life raft that's gonna rescue you from something, from whatever it is, whatever pain you're feeling or whatever you feel about yourself. You get high off of that fantasy and spend the rest of the relationship chasing it. That's what I'm talking about when I say don't care and don't stress. As soon as you move in the direction of attaching to that fantasy rather than just being in the moment and letting things flow, which is usually how women are in the beginning of a relationship. And that's why things come together so seamlessly. It's as soon as we attach to that fantasy and start to worry about losing it and start to care too much and stress too much, that's when things all tend to fall apart. If you find yourself in the category of a woman who got too excited about a relationship too fast and is now chasing that relationship, you have to let go of everything that you're chasing. You have to let go of chasing the guy, of all the physical behaviors of whatever it is you're doing, all the funny things you're texting him, or the things that you're saying, or the things that you're wearing, or how you're acting in order to win him over. You have to let go of all of that. And you have to let go of the fantasy of what could be and just look at what is. Letting go might feel like a loss, but really it's the ultimate win. Because when you let go of all this care, you free yourself. This person no longer has complete and total control over you. It's a horrible feeling to be at the mercy of someone else. I've been there. It's awful. It seriously, like, not hearing from him could ruin your entire day. Hearing from him could literally make you feel elated and on a high, like you're flying through the air. There is this idea that men want the cool girl, but I kind of feel like that idea has been dismantled. But what is the cool girl? She's basically a girl who can repair your car while wearing stilettos and looking super sexy and not breaking a sweat and eat pizza and burgers and stay a size 2. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've heard of the cool girl. It originated from the book Gone Girl, where, you know, Amy just describes the cool girl that every guy wants. That's not what guys want. Maybe some guys want that, but that's not what guys want. Guys don't want the cool girl. They want the carefree girl. They want the relaxed girl, the girl who could just be in the moment, go with the flow, not the girl who's gonna pressure him, back him into a corner, need him to fulfill an emotional void. This is the crux of what we've been talking about on A New Mode literally since 2009. And I know it's easier said than done. I know it can be difficult to get control over your thoughts, but you have to. You cannot ever find a relationship, and once you do find one, you'll never be able to enjoy it if you're just worrying about it all the time. So one thing that was really helpful for me, because I definitely was in this cycle of constantly worrying and obsessing and stressing, is just to remind myself, you'll be okay no matter what. You were okay before this guy came into the picture, and you'll be okay if things don't work out. I think I've shared with you before how, you know, my husband was my high school ex-boyfriend. We dated when we were 17, and then like 11 years later, came back together, ended up getting married. And I remember before our first date for round 2, I was so nervous. And even, I mean, after our first few dates, I was super, super nervous because I had wanted to get back together with him forever, for over a decade at that point. And we would weave in and out of each other's lives, and we'd run into each other, and I would think that, like, okay, this is it, where he's gonna ask me out. And then he would just like fade back into the abyss, and then I would run into him again like another few years later. But this time it was really happening, and I was absolutely terrified. I was like, this has to work out. But I caught myself. I really caught myself, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go down this path again, because this has screwed up way too many relationships for me in the past. So even though I really liked him, I did not abandon other options. Like, there were other guys in the picture I was talking to, guys who wanted to date me, and I kept entertaining those options. And even though all of them kind of paled in comparison to how I felt about the ex, now husband, I still allowed myself to mentally consider the possibilities of ending up with those guys, or of ending up alone and being single for a while longer, and being okay with all of those possibilities. I think just forcing my mind to do that really calmed me down and got me to a place where I could just enjoy dating him again. And I could know, all right, if it doesn't work out, it's just because it wasn't meant to be. It's not because I did anything wrong here, because I knew this time I was doing it right. And fortunately, it worked out. We are married with 3 kids. So that is the importance of not caring. I hope this made sense to you. I know that this is a different kind of video than what I normally do. Normally, I just give you everything in very digestible little bite-sized pieces. This time we went a little deeper, so I hope that it resonated with you. Please share your thoughts, your questions in the comment section. I read them all. I try to respond to everyone. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe. And if you want to know literally exactly A to Z how to get a man to be super interested, super attracted, super hooked, how to get him to not only want you, but to want to commit himself to you, then definitely check out our Make Him Want You Bad system. You can get it at makehimcraveyou.com. I will link it down below. Follow me on Instagram at A New Mode, and I will see you guys in the next video.